My name is Caleb Dardick, and I am so honored and pleased to be able to support Kathy's pilgrimage to end polio. My father, Sam Dardick, contracted polio in 1946. He was 13 years old, and it was about 10 years before the Salk vaccine was available. And so, like a lot of kids in his day, he loved to play baseball, he loved to play stickball, he was a very active kid. And all of a sudden he found himself with polio. He spent over a year and a half in the hospital in the late 40s, at the end of World War II. And he grew up really first in an iron lung, later paralyzed from the neck down, and over time regained the use of his upper body, but remained for the rest of his life paralyzed from the waist down. He was mainstreamed, which meant that the idea was that he needed to fit in, and so he learned to use full leg braces and crutches. With Dad, he mostly used a wheelchair, and I didn't know any better. I just thought that was just how, he was my dad, and we didn't think anything of it. And there was really nothing he couldn't do. My father was extremely active as a child. Coming out of the hospital, he learned how to play wheelchair basketball at the VA center with all these men returning from the war from all over the country. And so he learned a great deal about how to be a man, even though he was only 13, 14, 15 years old during that period. Became a talented athlete. He was an all-American wheelchair basketball star. He always loved to tell the story when he was with the Rolling Rams doing an exhibition game against the Harlem Globetrotters, and they were nearly beat him, but then the Globetrotters started jumping out of their wheelchairs and cheating. And so that was so he always played sports. He played tennis. And then when we moved to California, we bought 50 acres of undeveloped land, completely raw land, and Dad did everything. Helped build the house, cut brush, milk goats, and we really had a farmstead. So he was as active and as physical as any man that I knew. Taught me everything I know. I realized years later that sometimes his lessons were incomplete. For example, I liked to swim a lot, and then I remember one time this woman said to me, "How come you're not kicking?" And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" She said, "Well, when you swim, you're supposed to kick, as well as, do the stroke." And I was like, "I don't know anything about kicking." And Dad has somehow failed to mention kicking in the breaststroke and side stroke and the crawl lessons. So, that's sort of an unintended side effect, perhaps, of having a father with a disability. But, Dad was very active. He, in many ways, he was sort of a super disabled person. And if there's something that we can do today, I know that he would be so proud of all of our efforts to, end this disease once and for all, get the vaccine to the far parts of the world where people still don't have access, and let's end polio once and for all.